Very good afternoon, friends. So today I'm going to read my research paper. In this area device, you can see me wearing area this Metaverse 3S. So going to research my research paper now. Control H, and I can find my research paper here. This is my research paper. So I opened. Okay, and it's opening. Yes, it's open. This is by Observer Research Foundation. So before starting, you can see the environment now. This is above the cloud. This is above the cloud. There's some surface there. You can see a lot of clouds underneath it. Stars are also gone here. This is something like what is some floor above the clouds, which made above the clouds. Or maybe say you can see it's like a skyscraper upper rooftop. This is like a rooftop. You can see. Suppose I hide the screens. You can see a lot of beautiful rooftop of some building, which is so large that you can see underneath a lot of smoke. Okay. Now you can see also lot of petals. Okay. Now I'm going to start reading this level now. So fine. So pressing the F11. Okay, now reading the recipe paper. Okay, zooming in, Control plus. Okay, zooming in, and now going to start reading the this occasional paper. This is issue number 457, December 2024. Okay, so the case for tech-based wargaming in the Indian Armed Forces. Rahul Rawat is the author. Abstract wargaming can add in 1 minute. What I can do, just zoom out because this is very last stream. Okay. So you can see comfortably. Okay, thank you. Or what I can do, just pinch the screen, Okay, nice. Just pinch it up. Okay. This thing you have to practice a lot because that takes time to be expert in the zoom in, zoom out, and everything. Control of the screens. Okay, fine. Now it's okay. I think you can see. So wargaming can add in strategic thinking and operational preparedness and help assess potential outcomes in a conflict or battlefield. In recent years, modern militaries have been moving to technology-based wargaming by developing better modeling and simulation and running AI-generated plausible scenarios to enhance understanding of threat environments and operational realities. This paper analyzes the merits of technology-based wargaming and advocates for an overhaul of traditional wargaming in the Indian military. Okay, it tackles why and how India should adopt technology-based wargaming and recommends that country integrate human and AI capabilities to develop an improved genetic analytical wargaming infrastructure. In the long run, this can help enhance the doctrinal and organizational and operational levels of decision making in training and education. Okay, fine. Okay, so this is. Okay, you can see. So in preparing for battle, I have always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. So this is very important. Plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. Dwight D. Eisenhower, 34th U.S. President, have quoted this line. In preparing for battle, I have always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. So starting the research paper now. This is the introduction section. So starting the introduction section of the paper, the operational strategies of military and nations are aimed at achieving decision superiority over adversaries. Reducing the probability of errors by both individuals and organizations requires sufficient preparation, which enhance awareness and understanding of threats and the possible contingencies that could arise in real time. Additionally, it can help achieve an alignment between the thinking, logistics, plans, command and control, conduct and limitation prior to their executions. Okay, in military balance, and a core component of such preparation is wargaming. Okay, this is very important. Wargamers have three primary implications for military thinking. They enable wargamers to challenge assumptions and add new perspective to their existing knowledge. They provide insights into and enhance professional training and practice, thus catering to military readiness and effectiveness. And planning component of wargamers help prepare, analyze, and plan for any possible scenario. The wargaming approach consists of 6 phases. Okay, the first is tech, then apply, then do, then learn and repeat and improve. These are 6 phases. First teach, okay, first teach, then apply, and then do, and then learn, and then repeat and improve it. And the exercise helps situate a problem and provide a framework for decision making by facilitating an assessment of emerging challenges, creating a feedback loop, and developing a better judgment of the strategic environment and crucial operation and tactical details. Okay, wargaming is century-old exercise that has evolved through various phases to its current state. Wargaming has been conceptualized in various ways according to the utility, roles and functions, and the objectives that it serves for particular organization. So it is viewed as a method of active learning and an effective way to impart information. So you can see develop group cohesions and create an understanding of strategic and tactical dynamics of real military operations. So it also helps align the military and political dynamics of nationwide. So for the abstract, the A point, you can see here. Where is the A point that was given here? First, second. Okay, fine. So A, for more on decision superiority, see these are references, not that abstract points. The heart of decision superiority, and overall loss. Why your next war may be won or lost in seconds. Okay, these are the journals you can read. Okay, NATO defines wargaming as a simulation of military operation by whatever means using specific rules, data, methods, and procedures. Okay, so page number 4. The roots of wargaming can be treated to the ancient Chinese game Wiki, also known as Go, which was based on the application of abstract strategy. First generation war games are primarily abstract strategy games that replicate warfare and help players anticipate the move of the adversary. In 1811, wargamers in Persia began to involve the simulation of movement, iteration, and logistics, which gave rise to the development of models to achieve battlefield simulation. During the 19th and 20th century, analog-based wargaming became the prominent mode of performing analysis and training related tasks. After the First World War, Germany began to use war games to develop plans and doctrine to invade France and Russia. The Japanese military also used war games to validate their tactical and operational plans against the United States during the World Wars. So the US also integrated war gaming in its planning process with the R&D cooperation, developing a range of scenarios and new war games, including computer games and simulation. During the Cold War, wargaming gained new relevance, with participation not being limited to military professionals but expanding to civilian bureaucrats and political leadership. Methods such as operational research (OR) also became prevalent for modeling and wargaming during this period. As nuclear weapons turned international politics into zero-sum game, R&D began applying mathematical equations and game theory models to address issues in international politics. Such problems were endorsed with data next and simulated and validated through wargaming exercises. Pure military simulation in wargaming moved beyond political and economic theme-based simulation to cover strategic landscapes and develop policy operation in response to their circumstances. Wargaming has since evolved to include more sophisticated methods and procedures. There have been substantial changes in standardizations in wargaming process, which is reflected in conceptual and development by various actors. So this is my introduction section. So now it's time to move in the next this. Can I? So militaries such as those of the US and United Kingdom have integrated tech-based wargaming in their planning processes, with early results showing promise. Tech-based wargaming can become a test bed for planning to confront complex development in battlefield, enabling the integration and observation of technology in armed forces. Technology-based wargaming is also a useful tool for training and educating warfighters to prepare for worst-case scenarios in the battlefield and campaign. In tech-based wargaming, the real-time battlefield environment can be simulated to measure, analyze effectiveness and efficiency and validate system and components through simulation. Key parameters like lethality, mobility, protection, and endurance of a system can be assessed. Unlike in conventional wargaming, therefore, tech-based wargaming provides a platform to validate technological parameters and their integration with organizational command and control. This process in turn helps warm gamers access the strengths and weakness in the existing set of plans and capabilities. Technology based, so you can see from war gaming to tech based wargaming. Okay, this is the title of this article. Okay, now I'm going to read it. Therefore, tech-based wargaming provide a platform to validate technological parameters and their integration with organizational command and control. This process in turn helps wargamers assess the strength and weakness in the existing set of plans and capabilities. Technology-based wargaming process differ from conventional wargaming on the basis of the purpose. Tech-based wargaming helps make simulation more accurate while maintaining simplicity to add comprehension and learning and ensures flexibility to enable refinement and adjustments to the game and specific parameters depending on environmental factors. So finally, technology-based wargaming enables generating a scenario with integration of environmental parameters and capabilities. Tech-based wargaming can advance and improvise the existing capabilities of wargamers through the following: improvise and upgrade modeling and simulation to make them more realistic, improve the formatting of the game and make real team and adversary information and moves more realistic and familiar, and the abilities bias free by incorporating cultural and behavioral traits to ensure more real time observation and behavior. Okay, so these three key factors from properly incorporated into war games like will create a paradigm shift from conventional wargaming based linear thinking toward enhanced thinking based on treating warfare as a complex adaptive system. This holistic training and thinking capability to educate and upgrade military minds makes a case for establishing technology-based wargaming in the armed forces. Wargaming is generally viewed as intellectual exercise to test military commanders' thinking abilities and confronted by uncertainties. Tech-based, especially AI-based wargaming enables warfighters to expand beyond existing knowledge and explore and create one of their own. So AI can be utilized in the design, execution, analysis, and logistics of wargamers through a convergence of strategy, operational planning, and tactics. Wargaming aim to refine doctrines and strategy and prepare stakeholders for contingencies. A prominent AI-based wargaming technique is the use of Metaverse technology, which enables modeling and simulation in wargaming and facilitate agility in complex matters related to decision making. Another important technology in wargaming is the use of large language models, the LLMs. Okay, that when integrated with AI can help shorten decision making cycles and mitigate the limitation of broader AI-based system. So LLMs can support decision making processes by enhancing strategic insight and operational accuracy through better simulations. So if integrated within the OODA, observe, orient and decide and act, OODA, observe, orient, decide and act loop, LLMs can help understand and monitor changes, enhance predictive accuracy and provide better context driven recommendation to act in given context. Okay, fine. The next is the page number 8. AI integration in wargaming can have three key possibilities. First is wargaming and AI is as distinct activities. Okay, the wargaming is different and AI is different. First thing is that. Second, the complex takeover of wargaming process by AI. And third, a collaborative approach between AI and human actions. So in the human AI integration process, a complete set of wargaming process could be more innovative through computer-based simulations for wargaming. AI can balance human understanding and biases with raw data to create more sound and intelligible findings. So figure 1 you can see this is the AI integration in the wargaming process. How AI integrated in the wargaming processes you can see here. First, the initial knowledge is given. They represent game, chessboard, actors, strategies, dilemmas. Okay, then create decision aids or build game structure simulations or build EI, artificial intelligence decision aids for agents and teams. And then we can combine both the build game structure simulation and create design aids and make a design conduct structure war games, and by the second and 6B, build game structure simulation and build AI decision aids for existing teams. We can make a design, conduct, exploratory analysis, and by both together, design, conduct, structure war games and design, conduct, exploratory analysis, we can do what? Mine data using theoretical theory informed machine learning. Okay, so refine theory models, games, aids, and then we can do apply to problems, and then we practical value insights and solution foresight. So this is the a whole flow chart of the AI integration in wargaming process. So you can see this. So wargaming in the US and UK, the post second World War US strategic community has historically relied on development on offset strategy against adversaries to maintain an asymmetrical advantage or edge. Accordingly, the US has adopted 3 offset strategies since 1945. Okay, so what are the 3 strategies? First is that the first offset strategy in the early 1950s was aimed at addressing the challenge of nuclear deterrence posed by the Soviet Union and its Warsaw Pact allies, and avoid enhancing conventional forces capabilities to deter the USSR and its allies. Okay, the second offset strategy was developed after the end of the Vietnam War and led to a decrease in defense expenditure. Okay, in the USA. So simultaneously, the USSR's conventional forces outnumbered NATO forces in the European region, with qualitative and quantitative developments in the Soviet nuclear forces, closing the gap between NATO and USSR forces. The second offset strategy was also aimed at maintaining an advantage over the Soviet camp and leveraging the technological advantage to build better weapon systems than those of Soviet Union. This is very important, and the strategy also meant to increase the precision of defense strike system and the automation of command and control systems. The third offset strategy was introduced in 2014 to foster innovative methods to ensure the US military's preparedness to tackle emerging threats from a strong adversary, and thus foster innovations in war-fighting capabilities. This set the stage for innovative method of conducting war games to achieve the best outcomes. So in the 2017 and 2018 national security strategy of the US, there was a clear recognition of a military competition with China, with amassing military power being a critical area for such competition. Consequently, disruptive technology in the military domain became unable to help achieve US objectives and interest and maintain its military and war-fighting edge. The US Department of Defense (DoD) released its artificial intelligence strategy in 2018. This is very important. The US Department of Defense released its artificial intelligence strategy in 2018, which warns that failure to adopt AI will result in legacy system irrelevant to the defense of our people and eroding cohesion among allies and partners. Okay, so and reduce access to markets that will contribute to a decline in our prosperity and standard of living. In 2023, data analytics and artificial intelligence adoption strategy of the US DoD, the Department of Defense, Deputy Secretary of Defense Kathleen Hicks emphasized, as we focus on integrating AI into our operation responsibly and at speed. Our main reason for doing so has been straightforward, because it improves our decision advantage. So this is very important. Therefore, there is a clear indication that not integrating AI in defense can have a consequences for US military superiority in the international sphere. The US has consistently develop innovative methods to bring more accuracy and clarity to its operational plans and create better strategy through technology-based wargaming. So this is important. The US Research and Development Funding Agency, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency (DARPA), Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, invested in AI-based wargaming through the Game Breaker project, which is nearing education at the time of writing. The game is meant to not to be fair and aims to explore new capabilities, tactics, and rule modification to develop winning war fighting strategies when the adversary objectives, that is the rules of the game, are not clearly known. Okay, the aim is to let AI play in war game. Okay, let AI play in the war game, and if it can play, it can win. If it can win, then it can work. Okay, that's the important. So the game can be a useful tool to enhance the learning of military commanders and war fighters. The U.S. Marine Corps University has also launched a cloud-based wargaming initiative which aims to integrate wargamers and augmented reality to develop a database and to enhance and decision making. Holographic tabletop exercises can also create new possibilities for wargaming. So the US Air Force is examining how wargaming can shape the role and integration of AI-based system in the evolving battlefield and how AI can be leveraged to improve wargaming itself. Another project, the US Army Synthetic Training Environment (STE), okay, combines live virtual and constructive simulation to enable terrain mapping and mission planning and rehearsal. Okay, so next step is that table 1 AI-based wargaming project by DARPA. So I'm going to read the table now. So the DARPA project named Gamebreaker AI. Overview is that uses video games to study ways in which AI can be used in war games. So the gestation period was May 2022 present. The finding were the possibility of learning from the successes of the commercial games industry rather than starting from scratch for defense application. It uses the already game industry commercials and then uses for that defense application without starting from the scratch. Okay, and highly quantified approach may be applicable to the tactical games or games with a predetermined rule book. Unclear whether this is applicable to strategic war games and with a high level of uncertainty. So next was brainstorm for multi-domain operations at the campaign level to assess whether AI can enhance the course of action analysis, whether AI-assisted non-expert players can beat expert teams in wargame. So this was in September 2018 to present. Is continue. So early experiment shows that the users, even non-experts, prefer to interpret AI recommendations themselves rather than adopting them wholesale. So this is the thing. Next, DRP project named SAD. This is our use of AI to improve strategic decision making for diplomacy, in particular for looking at negotiations process. Okay, so the gestation period was from January 2022 to June 2023. The findings were indicates that efforts are being made to understand how AI agents might deal with human concern at more strategic end of the spectrum. For example, respective human behavior demonstrated the exploratory nature of existing work with the aim of developing a prototype AI agent rather than a near-term capability. Okay. So next, DARPA Combat developing AI application that could model red team. Okay, so behavior can be used to challenge blue team in subsequent war games. So this is from May 2022 present. This is still going. So it illustrates the benefits of competitive research models to drive innovative ideas within private sector. Okay, unclear whether there is this project demonstrate a successful application of AI red team agents, and given the lack of public evidence of the AI methodologies that are applied and the results that were achieved. So DARPA Scapata, a project using automation and AI to explore the development of novel course of action plans at machine speed. So January 2022 to present, this project is at an early stage and developments need to be tracked for further insights. Okay, so you can see this in the UK. Meanwhile, there is a recognition that innovation and amazing technologies, especially AI, can help generate breakthroughs in strategic advantage. The country's Ministry of Defense (MOD) is investing in developing wargaming capabilities. These developments are also marked by strong conceptual undercurrents within the UK defense community that aims to explore and develop a theory for wargaming with the intervention of AI-based technologies. The British Army's approach to artificial intelligence document is aimed at making the military AI and future ready. So the document emphasizes human AI integration as a dominant model to ensure more trusted and responsible use to gain a competitive edge. The UK, under the banner of Army for Warfighting Tech Experiment, is conducting the Army's collective training transformation program to train its warfighters in a fully immersive virtual environment, helping them prepare for eventualities. This is important. The Ministry of Defense also launched its first tactical wargaming center in 2024 with the aim of building and supporting a wargaming ecosystem. The Defense Experimentation and Wargaming hub aims to include experimentation and wargaming to facilitate faster tactical decision making. So this is very important. So next, this is the Indian military faces a range of threats from state and non-state actors, okay, with varied terrains, capabilities, and adversaries. And this geopolitical and military challenges sets a complex operational environment for Indian armed forces to develop a better understanding and decision making of the prevailing strategic and operational environment. The military still relies on traditional method of wargaming, only adopting software-based wargaming in 2019 by Indian Navy to serve the training purposes. So, trend and threat perception. The Indian military has serious conventional and nuclear challenges, including a two-front war with China and Pakistan that can take the form of nuclear escalation and the use of tactical nuclear weapons or coercion. Swift military operations in conventional but limited conflicts have also been undertaken, such as anti-piracy mission in the seas, the Balakot strike, the Uri surgical strike, and Operation Snow Leopard. The illegal warfare in the Indian context demands a high-level understanding of the complex terrain as well as war-fighting skills such as operational and tactical acumen and optimum decision making to outsmart the enemy within the constraint of capabilities, agility and time. The Indian military's integration of technology, the Make in India campaign highlights the defense sector such as key priority as a key priority, with policy steps thus far resulting in structural changes such as indigenization, okay, of the armed forces and the defense industry. It also involved the transformation and modernization of the Indian armed forces through indigenous efforts, including by private players to bring more innovative ideas and projects to create cater to the complex demand of the armed forces. These measures have aided the forces in meeting challenges related to operational readiness. Okay, so next page number 15. India has also been observed following where possible in inculcating best practices in different domains of the defense sector. The recent geopolitical and military challenges from China and the dependence on supply chain in the midst of Russia and Ukraine war has increased the pace of indigenizations. In May 2020, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the Atmanirbhar Bharat mission, which had the defense sector as one of its pillars. So efforts to create critical components and subsystem of a defense system to developing advanced defense systems have been integrated into the philosophy of the armed forces and bureaucracy. Subsequently, 2023 was declared a year of transformation for the Indian Army. So the goal of 2024 is technology observation, integrating technological advancement with conventional legacy and developing capabilities, necessity strategies, strategic planning, innovating and conceptualizing the deployment and conduct and battlefield operationalization of technological capabilities by integrating human and technology capabilities. Here, technology-based wargaming can streamline thinking, operational plans, and readiness to challenge the plans of adversaries. Following the recommendation by task force set up by the Department of Defense Production (DDP), India established the Defense Artificial Intelligence Council in 2019. Within the DAIC, the Defense AI Project Agency was established in 2019 with an annual budget of INR 100 crore for the following 5 years. India's primary public sector defense research institute, the Defense Research and Defense Development Organization (DRDO), Defense Research and Development Organization, has 3 dedicated laboratories: Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics (CAIR) and DRDO Young Scientist Laboratory DYSLAI and DRDO Young Scientist Laboratory Cognitive Technology DYSLCT. Given the limited expertise and wide domain of AI and data technology, more academic and private research institutes should study the potential uses of AI, especially in defense sector. So the DPP MOD has also published an extensive report on AI in defense, which lists how AI is making inroads into various tasks and roles associated with the armed forces and defense sector. This includes India's ongoing preparedness through the integration of AI in surveillance, unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs and drones, and cybersecurity, command control, communication, computers, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. C4 ISR systems. C4 means command control communications computers. This is C4, and intelligence and surveillance is INS, and reconnaissance is R. So this is a system logistical management and the Internet of Things IoT. The first ever AI in defense symposium and exhibition in New Delhi 2022. Ministry of Defense Rajnath Singh said the timely infusion of technology like AI and big data in the defense sector is of utmost importance, so that we are not left behind the technological curve and take maximum advantage of technology for our services. Okay, so at the doctrinal level, both individual services and joint the articulation of AI and its integration even among discussions about other amazing technology. It's largely emerging. In practice, the three services, Army, Navy, and Air Force, are acquiring and using amazing and AI-related technologies to understand their functional prospects. There are also multiple initiatives for observation, adoption, and integration of AI and emerging technologies within the military. The effectiveness of these initiatives also depends on efforts by the scientific community, industry, and the government to develop and popularize these technologies. Okay, so at present, the interface between industry and military is at an emergent stage, and clarity can only be achieved with the integration and operationalization of technology in the Indian military. This process will gain momentum as the civil military technology interface picks up space and military enhances the use of AI in its operational and logistical tasks. In addition, the lack of civil military interface and innovation has slowed the process of developing AI-based systems and integrating them at the operational level. However, it is important to note the services are conscious of both the power and implication of AI and other innovative technologies. When users lack clarity regarding operational requirement due to the absence of discussions at the doctrinal level, technological progress deviates from the optimum pathway of technology, especially by AI integration. So the top brass civilian leadership and can push for AI integration, but it is the thing are that, but it is imperative that armed forces develop a consensus on the perceptions and expectation from AI as a technological advancement. There are numerous policy initiatives in place to integrate AI in the Indian military. However, there is a lack of substantial information about how to examine this system to develop concepts and doctrinal requirement in peacetime to understand the nuances and nuances and potential operational uses. And it is important to develop a robust tech-based wargaming infrastructure to support and learn more about prospective questions and possibilities. Additionally, it is imperative to encourage, discuss and develop and contextualize technologies and its integration in the doctrinal philosophy of the armed forces. This was streamlined the development of technological based wargaming to become more future ready for the changing character of warfare. The merits of the tech-based wargaming in the Indian context are: in India, the MOD has laid out a framework for simulators in the Indian Armed Forces, emphasizing the objective of fight as you train. Okay, the train as you fight, both things, vice versa. Okay, fight as you train or train as you fight. A private industry player, Technotrov, secured the contract from MOD for the supply of advanced military training simulators for the Indian Air Force and Indian Army. So the use of simulators has been considered crucial for training purposes, but a comprehensive view to integrate them in wargaming process is missing. Project WARDEC, Wargaming Research and Development Center, is first concrete step towards developing a simulation-based training center in India. It is an initiative by Army Training Command ART RAC with support from Rashtriya Raksha University, Gujarat, and private industry player Tech Mahindra, and will use a Metaverse enabled environment to prepare warfighters against adversarial situations in various scenarios with multiple aspects such as the slope of terrain, weather, time, air pressure, enemy surveillance reach, the reach of artillery, the position of troops, soldiers' health, and the enemy's reaction capabilities are taken into account. The same platform could be extended to paramilitary forces to develop plans and conduct training more effectively. However, this development comes with two caveats. First, there is a knowledge gap between the users, that is Indian military personnel and wargame developers, who are usually from technical and non-military backgrounds. Second, the project remains in conceptual stage rather than as a concrete step towards an end product. Such products, one develop, need more clarity and must be categorized in terms of their uses. Years current from Metaverse, best wargaming will cater primarily to the tactical levels of training wargame to prepare war fighters for small scale complex operations. However, integration with operational and strategic level requirements needs to be well thought out. So a few propositions are outlined in the following points that can help establish the case of AI-based wargaming in general and specifically for Indian Armed Forces. First is that AI-based wargame serves as the best feedback loop to identify uncertainties in the environment and assess plausible solution without becoming subordinate to adversarial condition added by fog and friction on the battlefield. The changing nature of warfare has led to variable threats and technological, organizational, and doctrinal changes, as in the case of Russia-Ukraine war and the Israel-Hamas war. These developments also carry lessons from India's armed forces and the militaries of adversarial states, with emerging domains and cross-domain, multi-domain operational strategies in military campaigns, which involve space, sea, land, air, and electromagnetic-based warfare. Multiple vectors, variables, and combinational tactics are at play on the battlefield. Conventional wargaming and modeling fall short in understanding this context. On the other hand, tech-based simulation and scenarios provide better predictive accuracy, then create mental models, enrich plans, and make them more resilient, and expose warfighters to probabilities in conceptualizing warfare and related uncertainty through the better foresight and on battlefield campaigning. Okay, campaign. So the materialization of theater commands will necessitate a rethinking of operational preparedness concepts and warfighting among the three services of Indian military. Yeah, I already told. Tech-based wargaming will serve as a key feedback loop that will inculcate and reorient these factors to suit shifting realities. The idea is to analyze force application models for refining operational doctrines and concepts. Further, potential operational and tactical fallacies can be laid out and recalibrated to improve capabilities distribution as per the context specific demands and requirement of a plan and associated contingencies. This has implication for improvisation of real-time decision making on the battlefield. It will help improve coordination and team level performance and enable battle training and adaptation to dangerous or unforeseen contexts. It will also have extreme utility in designing and conducting irregular warfare related operations to strengthen the will, moral, and emotions related to war fighters. Tech-based wargaming provides more options, including a range of kinetic and non-kinetic options beyond conventional means. This facilitates the implementation of a spectrum of tasks from low risk to optimum to high risk, enabling the framing of responses even in the worst case scenarios. The data and variables fed into the system will help generate other responses option if one option failed to deliver an outcome. Wargaming will provide a platform for underrepresented viewpoints in the service by pressing counter faults, not got counter faults, this is counterfactuals, or diversing views among or within the three services of the armed forces or the national security establishment, including the civilian counterparts of the country. This will also help instill confidence and ensure improved cohesiveness and uniformity in the planning process among war game participants. Okay, you can see the battery level is down. So what I can do, I just put here this. 1 minute. Okay, fine. I will connect this and continue the reading. Okay, so an improved and sustainable wargaming infrastructure and culture can contribute to better military adaptation of ideas, so effectiveness measure on the battlefield. Okay, fine. So next is conventional wargaming is qualitatively in nature. Tech-based wargames can be quantitative and depending on the design and structure, and thus contribute to a data set that can be used to compile and maintain a report. This data can also be improved in the future to identify better alternative. So wargames can enhance the preparation of military exercises and training and help develop better planning schemes. At the operational level of strategy, war plans can be made more robust through incorporating technological advancements such as technology-based wargaming. This will strengthen the plans and agency of commanders over their conduct and control on the battlefield and deliver better outcomes in sync and national policy and objective. AI-based wargames with human-level intervention have the potential to produce the best outcomes, aiding the commanders and decision makers to generate better plans. So virtual reality application and the Metaverse can also help cater to previously missing elements of emotions like fear and morale in war games, thereby better preparing war fighters for real world problems. Okay, so figure number 2, tech-based wargaming for the Indian Armed Forces. So you can see the now the politico-strategic environment. This is wargaming, this is education, and this is training. So this training purpose best, we can use the education and wargaming both. For this is for tech-based. This is tech-based wargaming. Use the both three. Wargaming, education, and training. And analytical purpose, we can see this one. Wargaming and training. So page number 21. The integration of AI-based wargaming in Indian Armed Forces depends on three factors: culture, processes, and people. India's organized wargaming culture is nascent, with occasional gaming at the political National Security Council secretaries at NSCS and tri-services levels. Most of the wargaming is done at training and educational institutions such as war colleges, which are both single service and inter-services. These are largely situational wargames, which where modern tools including AI and systems analysis have limited use. In the absence of robust wargaming culture at the apex level, their effectiveness and significance will remain limited. Another drawback of the present system is that absence of wargaming potentially creates a gap between political and military assessment, thereby impacting national security decision making. Wargaming as a process is not endorsed due to the lack of realization of immense utility and awareness by key stakeholders. This can be attributed by prevailing bureaucratic and military silos, where decision making takes place on paper more than scenario planning and strategic gaming. The current situation reflects the lack of robust national planning psychology. War games that include an evolution of option through detailed analysis based on historical data, trends, and analysis are also used to examine possible future pathways. However, this sub-optimalism in national planning can hinder learning and adaptation. It can only be developed when the top brass absorbs the idea of utility of tech-based wargaming and develop is to make it a part of the organizational culture. Okay, so in higher defense organizations and the armed forces, civilian leadership also need to be, provide a space for this innovation and the development of expertise in the private and government sectors and institutional expertise in the armed forces. There is also a need to understand and develop the requirement criteria for AI-based wargaming. The armed forces should gather clarity about the purposes, okay, and tasks of such wargaming. The absence of a dialogue in the Indian security architecture also poses another problem. The requirement of armed forces, once defined clearly, need to be understood by civilian counterparts to help proceed more effectively towards achieving objectives. The silos between intelligence agency, armed forces, and civilian bureaucracies create different and sometimes diverging assessments, which leads to a lack of precise and reliable information on critical issues. To make wargaming a success, the agency must develop trust and exchange critical information to enhance the cohesion and coordination among various actors, realize the goals of better understanding and sound decision making. The Indian ecosystem can tap into potential of AI through large scale workforce of analytics and software developers in the country. This expertise can be realized through the creating AI labs across the country, both government sponsored and private sector, which will ensure a diversity of ideas and establishment of institutions that can enhance the innovation base and AI domain knowledge of conduct cutting edge research. This can allow India to realize the potential of AI, which is not just limited to wargaming or defense application, but also include more extensive dual use application. So processes, in terms of processes, the validation and verification in AI related processes remains a challenge. The design and development, testing and procurement of AI based software and simulation technology also demand greater clarification of military and industrial standards and the procurement procedures within the defense and bureaucratic ecosystem. Additionally, there is a need to formalize texts such as manual for wargaming and the codes and procedures handbook to measure environmental statistics for emulation, which could serve as a guide for practitioners and conducting and maximizing the use of integrated technology. So, however, Indian armed forces are facing issues related to conceptualizing the role of wargaming, its applications, and the level at which it to be used in the future. So, addressing for whom and by whom wargaming will be utilized will also address the involvement of institutions and developing wargaming infrastructure and the role and functions of various government agencies, individuals, and armed forces institutions and officers in the process. Okay, the wargaming doctrine should also draw from the amazing dimension of threats and technology in the operational domain while staying in alignment with the fundamental doctrine of Indian armed forces. The Indian government can also follow approach of DARPA's game breaker, which involved multi-agency, government and civilians, private and academic institutions collaborating towards education by lending domain-specific expertise. So, government-led institutions such as the DRDO's Institute of System Studies and Analysis, ISSA, and Center for Development of Advanced Computing (CDAC), and armed forces planning institutions such as the Army Training Command (ARTRAC), which includes a Simulations Development Division (SDD) and a Wargaming Development Centers (WAR DEC), and Indian Navy. So the Indian Navy and the Indian Air Force could develop the content, technologies, and infrastructure to address the requirement of the Indian Armed Forces. This could be developed in consultation with three services to meet demands of the integrated theater commands, organizational structure, and allocate responsibilities to each service. Okay, so in the apex level, the civilian-led bodies could also actively participate in overseeing and developing the political strategic level of wargaming. This involves the Prime Minister, the Raksha Mantri, the Cabinet Committee, and security or security members, national security advisors, and associate members from the National Security Advisory Board, NSAB and NSCS, and Chief of Defence Staff CDS, the service chiefs of the Indian Army, the Air Force and Navy. Additionally, at the development stage, private defense industry players investing in simulation methods and infrastructure, and academic institutions with the capabilities to run and develop simulation need to be consulted with and integrated into the conceptualization process for developing tech-based wargaming. So another hurdle is the lack of database of information, and that could be fed to AI system to form the basis of data analytics for running simulations. Okay, so the cloud computing infrastructure within India needs to be developed by upgrading the technological base and indigenizing the system. The same cloud infrastructure can be utilized to support cloud-based wargaming, which can be further utilized to train India's paramilitary and other security agency as well. So, it is essential to factor in people and related non-tangibles in the processes and steps involved in tech-based wargaming. Peter Parla highlights wargames can be very effective at building a consensus consensus on the importance of key ideas or factors in the minds of participants. So the participants of wargame, the perceptions of wargame participants determine the assessment derived from wargaming processes. As the wargaming process become more advanced through technological integration, it needs to incorporate intangible but determining factors such as moral, fear, and courage to produce more sustainable and realistic outcomes. Given the role of emotion in military strategies and warfighting, it is important to include them to ensure a more real-world synthetic environment for qualitative improvements in wargaming. The people component also includes developing a tech-savvy and skilled workforce through the involvement of civilians trained and niche areas of research such as OR, AI, and emerging technologies, defense technologies, and computer science. The armed forces also need to tap into talent within organization in the form of technically skilled soldiers to ensure better coordination and expertise to develop, sustain, advance, and conduct war games using the proper methodologies, verification, and validation involved in the processes. So this is the part of this. So wargaming is at the commanders level can be addressed by the officers themselves. It needs to be coordinated at the individual service level. Given that despite theaterization, each service will still have a context-specific threat of perception and requirement. So at the same time, the philosophical foundation of jointness and integration in understanding should reflect at the commanders and mid-level stance towards conducting wargaming as a united force against the adversarial team. Okay, so this is over. The modern militaries are integrating tech-based wargaming into their organizational structure, providing them with a qualitative multiplayer as in a real-time battlefield operation in a specific terrain and geographic. So tech-based wargaming provides a more nuanced and creative and innovative way to reorganize force structure, tactics, and operational command and control for specific operations. Tech-based wargaming can therefore be instrumental in bridging the gap between planning and conduct. So AI integration at the Indian Armed Forces have already begun and serve as a basis for advancement through recalibration and innovations using existing capabilities and a more advanced wargaming infrastructure. If India aims to match the growing pace of adversarial militaries, it must adopt a more standardized process and infrastructure in top to bottom ranks and files in the armed forces. Okay, so AI-based wargaming is relatively more costly than conventional wargaming, but more effective. Okay, in the long term is more effective. Moreover, it is one-time investment that can save the cost of training and wargaming to create better warfighters and decision making. The best outcomes can be achieved by bringing together the top brass in each service. So individually by each service or jointly to lay groundwork for theaterization in the military. Meanwhile, the mid and lower ranks can collective technical skill sets to assemble ideas and integrate them into the system to gain better results. So support from government agencies and private players can boost tech-related infrastructure, which is essential when aiming for a technological age to keep up with the developments in warfighting and wargaming. Wargaming should also be an integrated part of professional military education (PME), which is in content and substance remains insulated from debate and decision around the scope of improvement. With theaterization, a joint PME is essential, where the early introduction of tech-based wargaming will prove to be cohesive element to make officials from the three services think more critically, conceptualize and tackle planning related challenges as a single unit. In the long run, this amendment in the PME will improve young and mid-rank officers' capabilities to respond. Okay, next. Respond more relatively and enhance their cognitive skills to frame optimum responses to crisis. Okay, to crisis like situation in real time. So you can see this. Wargaming is not the only way to serve all purposes of testing. This is very important. Validating and educating and evaluating plans and decision making. Yet it has a immense potential. Okay, and it would be beneficial to aim for greater accuracy, precision, and creativity towards becoming more future ready amid the changing character of warfare. This is ORF. So this is paper now. Rahul Rawat is the author. He's a research assistant, strategic studies program observer, research foundation. Okay. So you can see all the references that are mentioned in the paper. Okay, fine. Now it's time to wrap up this paper now. Summarize this paper. Okay. The paper is now over. You can see all the references. Okay. I can show you all the references. There are total 84 references you can see here. And this is the ORF, Observe Research Foundation. The logo is Ideas, Forms, Leadership and Impact. This is the address, email and website. You can see. Okay. Now I'm going to close this and search it out here. I will type notebook LLM. Okay. Okay. And already is 1 hour. Going to be 1 hour. So I will try to summarize this paper in few minutes. Okay. So I will create a new notebook. Creating new notebook. Okay. Upload this file. The file is uploading now. Okay, and write that summarize this paper with okay, let it upload. Okay, this is currently uploading this very big file. The quality of this result was very good, so because of that this was very lot of big file. So this is the summarization of the paper. The provided text advocates from the Indian Armed Forces to modernize their strategic preparation by transitioning from traditional method to technological based wargaming by leveraging artificial intelligence, large language models, LLMs, okay, and metaverse simulations. The military can better anticipate complex battlefield variables and achieve decision superiority over adversaries. The paper highlighted how global powers like the US, UK have already integrated these tools to refine their doctrine and improve operational readiness. For India, adopting these innovations is presented as essential for navigating multi-domain threats from our neighbors like China, Pakistan, while supporting the Atmanirbhar Bharat mission for defense indigenations. Ultimately, the source argues that a robust digital wargaming infrastructure will enhance training, reduce human error, and streamline and transition towards integrated theater command. So, this is the summarization. This paper argues for an overhaul of traditional wargaming in the Indian military in the favor of technology-based wargaming to achieve military superiority over adversaries. By integrating AI-generated scenarios, modeling, and simulation, the paper suggests that India can better assess potential conflict outcomes and improve operational. So Okay. Okay, this is good. Ultimately, the author recommends a collaborative human AI approach to develop generative and analytical infrastructure that supports strategic, organizational, and operational decision making. So, relevant question: why does India specifically needed to adopt tech-based wargaming now? The Indian military forces faces a complex operational environment characterized by two front challenges from China and Pakistan involving both conventional and nuclear threats. Tech-based wargaming provide a vital feedback loop to identify environmental uncertainties and evaluate non-kinetic options that conventional wargaming might miss. Furthermore, as India moves toward integrated theater commands, these technologies are necessary to refine joint operational doctrines and reorient force application models. What specific technology are driving the shift in modern wargaming? Modern wargaming leverages artificial intelligence, AI, metaverse technology, and large language models (LLMs) to enhance uh, predictive accuracy and shorten decision-making cycles. For instance, LLMs can provide context-driven recommendation within OODA, observe, orient, decide, and act. International example including DRPA's Game Breaker project, which uses AI to explore novel tactics, and US Army synthetic training environment (S3E), okay, which combines live and virtual simulation for mission rehearsal. In India, our project is named WARDEC, is the first step toward a metaverse-enabled wargaming center, okay, and USA synthetic training environment (STE). What are the primary challenges India faces in adopting this technology? The integration of these systems depends on overhauling culture, processes, and people. India currently has the nearest wargaming culture, so not nascent wargaming culture, which decision making often happens on paper rather than through scenario planning. So bureaucratic and military silos prevent the exchange of critical information, and there is a lack of comprehensive database to feed AI system for accurate simulation. Additionally, a knowledge gap exists between wargame developers from technical background and a military personnel who use them. Okay, so how can tech-based wargaming improve military training and leadership? Tech-based wargaming should be an integral part of professional military education. This is PME. Okay, to help officers think more critically and conceptualize planning challenges and as a single unit. By using virtual reality and the metaverse, training can incorporate intangible elements like fear and moral and better preparing war fighters for real world emotional stimuli. In the long term, this improves the cognitive skills of mid rank officers, allowing them to respond more creatively to real time crises. So next is, what role does the private sector play in this transition? The Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat missions have opened doors for private industry players like Tech Mahindra and Technotrovo, so to supply advanced simulators and support projects like WARDEC. The paper emphasized that a civil military technology interface is essential to enhance the innovation base and tap into India's large pool of skilled software developers and analysts. So private defense players and academic institutions should be considered during the conceptualization stage to ensure wargaming infrastructure meets the specific demands of the armed forces. Okay, so now I think it's over now. Thank you so much. 1 hour is already done, so time up. So it's time to take a goodbye from you, and if you like this paper, so don't forget to subscribe my channel, like this video and share with your friends. Okay, so I'm going to stop it. Let me show you the environment again. Close the screen. See, this is a beautiful environment where I stand and read the wallpaper without any break. You can see the beauty. Okay, this is a above the cloud surface. Lot of plants are there, you can see, and in front lot of my plants. So, and sky is fully empty. The whole space is empty. So it's take a goodbye. Okay, bye. Okay, fine. Thank you so much for watching it.